Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another very exciting Star Wars video. And today is a very special update because it concerns the maker himself, George Lucas. This is very unprecedented. George is going to be making his first ever Comic-Con appearance in San Diego in 2 weeks' time. This is so exciting, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about what this means and what it doesn't, because Star Wars fans have been already taking this a bit too far and thinking it means he's going to be returning to Lucasfilm. That's not what this is about. So the Lucasfilm founder is going to be joined by Guillermo del Toro and artist Doug Chiang for a conversation moderated by Queen Latifah. So many legends in one single room. Doug Chiang is of course a Lucasfilm veteran. He worked under George and now under Disney. He's known for his immense contributions as a concept artist, production designer, and creative leader behind the visual evolution of Star Wars. He's best known for his contributions in the prequel trilogy. He is responsible for so much of the overall aesthetic of episodes 1 to 3. Many of the planets, the aliens, the droids, you name it, it's all Doug Chiang. And Guillermo del Toro is a wonderful Mexican filmmaker who nearly made a Jabba the Hutt horror movie. So what is this panel going to be about? Well, it's definitely not to announce some kind of return to Lucasfilm, but George is going to give the public and the audience in attendance a sneak peek at the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art. This museum has been long anticipated. It's currently being built in Los Angeles, California, and fans are finally going to get an update. But then you might be wondering, what else is George going to say? Is he going to comment on the state of Disney Star Wars? Is he going to announce anything else? I'm going to just wager a guess and say, probably not. I'm not saying he won't say anything about Star Wars because he always does, and I'm sure the moderator, Queen Latifah, is going to ask him some questions, but for those hoping he's going to say he hates the sequel trilogy or comment more generally about the state of things, I'm personally very doubtful about that, and I think fans who hold on to some modicum of hope that George might return someday need to let that go. He's always said, episodes 1 to 6 are his. Everything Disney does is a different direction from what he wanted, even if he liked the Kenobi show, even if he was a fan of Rogue One. At his age, his priorities are now very different, and I think to some extent he's let Star Wars go. It'll always be his baby, but when it comes to this idea that he wants to return to the company, take over from Kathleen Kennedy again, I don't think any of that is ever going to happen. So we shouldn't read too deeply into this, which is why I say he's going to be at Comic-Con, he's returning to be in front of the fans, but it's primarily to discuss his museum. And don't get me wrong guys, I'd love if he talked about Star Wars. I'm just trying to be realistic. But any breadcrumbs are great, because he doesn't make too many public appearances these days, and very few people have his ear. I'm sure many of us would love to hear what he has to say about the Acolyte, Andor, Skeleton Crew. We'd love to hear his feedback, because we know he still watches some of these projects. He called Gareth Edwards up and Tony Gilroy after Rogue One, and he loved it, but it's very rare we hear about his reactions. At the 45th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back, he spoke a lot about characters like Yoda and the impact of the movie, some of the difficulties in production. So if anything comes up, that'd be amazing. All I'm saying is, don't expect anything too massive. He's there to talk about his museum. The museum's website says they're opening in 2026, and I'm hoping to make it to Star Wars Celebration in Los Angeles in 2027, so maybe I'll visit then. And look, whatever he's there to talk about, whether you care or you don't about this museum, it's just great to have George on stage, at a Comic-Con, at a convention, with fans who love him. And I hope he realizes just how much fans appreciate him. The 2000s were really rough. He didn't deserve the backlash to the prequel trilogy, but I hope he knows many of us who grew up with episodes 1, 2, and 3 are now adults who love those movies. We see the vision for the full Skywalker saga, and we love it. And for some it's because they don't like Disney Star Wars, but for others, it's an appreciation that he was the creator. He made this universe. He pioneered special effects, digital filmmaking, and he deserves all the love and all the respect in the world. And when you go back to watch interviews with George from 15-20 years ago, it's so devastating to hear him talk about the fandom, the criticisms he endured, and how he felt as though everyone was against him. I hope he knows that is no longer true, because us prequel kids, we're all grown up, and those movies spoke to us back then, and they still do now. And if I ever get the chance to meet George one day, I hope to thank him, because Star Wars in many ways has been my hope, my escape. And the fandom, our little community and the wider fan base, I know we get a bad rap as being very passionate and loud fans, and there are some really nasty people out there, but generally speaking, we are one of the best, no scrap that, we are the best fandom in the entire world. We're so diverse from all kinds of walks of life, different countries, ethnicities, backgrounds, you name it, and yet, we resonate with this amazing story. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The biggest shame of being such a divided fandom is when you meet people, when you talk to fans in person, not online, but at Star Wars Celebration, at conventions, you begin to realize just how much we have in common. And I just wish sometimes we could put politics and all of that nonsense aside and focus on how amazing Star Wars is. Even if you don't love all of it, even if you're frustrated with the way Star Wars is under Disney, the things we love, what George created, is what keeps us in this fandom. It's the reason you walk out in public with that Star Wars shirt. It's the reason you still put on the original trilogy or the prequels or whatever you're into. And it's the reason that we always hope the next project, show, comic, book, or movie is going to be good. Because we want Star Wars to be great. Why? Because we love the world that George Lucas created. And so this is a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. I would love to be there. It's extremely short notice. San Diego Comic-Con is in 2 weekends' time. I am over here in the UK. I don't think I'm going to make this one. But hopefully this is the start of something bigger. And what I really hope is that George Lucas is there at Star Wars Celebration in 2027, the 50th anniversary of the original film, A New Hope, or to OG fans, just Star Wars. And that brings us on to our next update. According to the YouTuber Eckhart's Ladder, Lucasfilm has some big plans, probably for the next Star Wars Celebration. So think back to a couple of weeks ago. Kathleen Kennedy was here in London to host a rare screening of the original, despecialized version of Episode 4. And at the time, fans were wondering, is she testing the waters for a wider release? Well, according to a new rumor, that might be the case. And not just for A New Hope, but for the whole original trilogy. And they're probably going to release it on Disney+, commemorating 50 years of the franchise in 2027. It's not replacing the versions that we have today, but it's going to sit alongside them. Whether it's the changes to the Cantina, the Sarlacc, Jabba the Hutt, Sice Noodles, but on the bright side, we get the OG version of Return of the Jedi with Yub Nub instead of the End Celebration theme. I like both, but Yub Nub is classic. Who doesn't love the fantastic Ewok celebration? That also means you get to see Sebastian Shaw instead of Hayden Christensen as Anakin's ghost. And I assume they got George Lucas's permission, because he was always firmly against this idea. He always affirmed the original versions were incomplete, but maybe he's changed his mind. Maybe as he's getting older, maybe now there's been a lot of distance between him and Lucasfilm, he's finally decided, why not? If the fans want it, then finally just give it to them. But this is just a rumor. Either way, my friends, whatever happens, Kathleen Kennedy promises that Star Wars Celebration, the next celebration in 2027, is going to be the biggest one yet, and they have a lot of things planned for A New Hope's 50th anniversary. Some cool merch, of course, but also keep in mind, it's probably the place we're getting our final trailer for Star Wars Starfighter by Sean Levy. The movie releases that year. I wonder if we're going to get more announcements. We don't know what the situation with Disney Plus is going to be by then. The Maul show would have been finished. Ahsoka Season 2 would have been finished, so that might be a franchise-changing celebration. It might be one of the biggest events in years. Fingers crossed, but Star Wars Meg is coming to America, and I am going to be there. But what do you guys think? Share your thoughts on all of today's news in the comments down below. I really appreciate you checking out this video, guys, and if you like what I do, check out the link to my Patreon down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, and may the Force be with you always.